Hi there, Flat Cap Chef, and today I'm going to show you how to make a lovely yummy carrot cake. Okay, so what have we got? So as again, best to get your ingredients all ready for this. So I have got 1.5 cups of plain flour, so that's around about 250 grams. I've got some bicarbonate of soda, I'm just going to use a couple of teaspoons of that. I've got some salt, use a little teaspoon of that. I've got some ground cinnamon to give it some flavour. I've got some vegetable oil, 300 mils of just any old vegetable oil is fine. I've then got around 200 grams, so that's around about one mug of normal granulated sugar. I've got the same mug of soft brown sugar. I've got, in my case, some vanilla powder, but you can use vanilla extract or fresh vanilla. I've got 4 large eggs, and I actually happen to have some nuts. You don't need to use these, just around. These are walnuts and pecans I've just roughly chopped up. And then we've got 2 nicely greased, with a little bit of baking paper in the bottom, 9-inch cake tins. So my oven is on at 180, warming up nicely, and all we need to do is start putting this together. It doesn't take very long. Let me show you one thing on carrots. So the final item, of course, is grated carrots. So there's about 300 grams of grated carrots. I actually put about 400 grams when I weigh them out, because once you've peeled them, taken the tops off, and then grated them, it comes down a bit. And remember, with these carrots, even if you've got ones that look like this, you can still use them. What you need to do is a quick peel. There we go. All that horrible blackness is gone. Chop the end off. And then I've got my grater here. I don't have if you've got one of those electric ones, that's great on your blitz, your mixer. The tip of using one of these is to just take a triangle off the edge. So you've got a flat piece like this. So that flat piece, when you then come to grate it, you'll find it an awful lot easier, because you've used this big flat edge, and it gives you a lot more purchase. Okay, so that's just a quick tip on doing that. Should help. And you'll also find that when you get to the end of that hand grating, you're going to have a bit left over. Just throw that away. That's why I do 400 and I only need 300, because I know that stuff's going to be wasted. Right, so let's get to mixing. So I'm going to mix together my wet ingredients for this. So what's the thing I've got here? I've got my 300 of oil. There we go. I'm going to put a little sprinkle of vanilla powder. Gives it a nice flavour. Not too much, because it's lovely, but it's quite powerful. There we go. And next I am going to put in my sugars. So I'm going to put my 200 grams of 1 mug of white, and same quantity of brown. Okay, I'm then going to put in some baking soda. Don't need much baking soda, just going to put in, what we're going to put in here, we're going to put 1, 2 of those, that's that one done. And I think that's, a little bit of cinnamon, of course, yes, going to put for the extra flavour. So I'm going to put around about a teaspoon of cinnamon. It's flowing over the edge, but that's okay. So that's all of those set up, and now I'm going to whisk these together. I'm going to use my hand whisk to do it. You know, if you've got an electric whisk, that's fine, you can use that as well. Now I'm going to drop in my eggs. I'll do them one at a time, so they're properly incorporated. 1, 2. These are good big eggs. See, it's starting to change texture and colour already. 3. Whisk around. And 4. There we go. So now you can see the texture of this and the colours changing. Okay, that's all nicely whisked together. So now I'm going to put in my flour. I'm going to put in about a third of the flour. Okay. And just a little teaspoon of salt. I'm going to use a spatula to stir this in. It's pretty easy to mix together. There we go. See why you put a third in at a time, because otherwise your flour is going to explode everywhere as you're trying to incorporate it into this lovely batter that we've now created. That's now incorporated. Let's put the next third in. There we go. It's pretty quick to absorb. Not too much flour in this, which is nice. A bit of a stir then helps. So you're folding and stirring, scraping it off the sides, making sure it doesn't get wasted. There we go. Is that one done? Now my final third goes in. I haven't done much in the way of kind of baking cakes, although my chocolate cake is well followed. If you want to check that out on the website, it's the foolproof way. Everyone can still make a mistake, but pretty much foolproof way of making a lovely chocolate cake. So this is now thickening up as that flour is incorporated, which is great. Now we're coming to the moment where we're going to put the key ingredient in, which is of course, you guessed it, carrot. So I'm going to roll my nuts in there. There we go, nuts are in. Those are quick. Stir around. You don't have to use the nuts. And clearly, if you're allergic, you're not going to use them. And then finally, my lovely carrot. It's all been grated. We get the juice from the carrots as well, which adds a little bit of moisture to the cake. Surprisingly juicy of carrots. Right. I find the best way is just kind of stir and then fold backwards and forwards, like a W shape, just to get the initial incorporation. These lovely carrots. Doesn't take long. Just make sure it's well mixed from the bottom, otherwise you'll end up with an uneven cake, which you don't really want. Doesn't take them much now, so we're pretty much there. Then I'm going to divide this between my two tins, pop it in the oven for around about 40 minutes. Check it after 40 minutes. Press the top, should be springy, and come back when you press it. If it doesn't, then perhaps leave it another 5 minutes or so, so max of about 45 minutes. So here we go. Let's just divide this up between my two. Should be roughly half. And then the second one. Okay. Give them a little tap and it evens them out. Then we're going to pop these into the oven and then we'll come back and check on the cake. Okay, so they've now just come out of the oven. It's about 40 minutes. Quick tip on how to get them out of the tin. You've got the two parts of the tin. You simply find yourself a bowl like that, and then around the edges just use a flat bladed knife just to scrape right around the edges, and then push down on the bowl, and you will end up with your cake sitting very nicely on its tin like that. Then take it off. You make sure you're using a good towel, and then what we do is invert it. So tip it upside down. So you see here's the baking paper. So you're tipping it upside down onto a nice cooling rack, and then just peel away the baking paper because you want the cake to cool, and if it's on there it's not going to cool. It's going to hold in the heat. You can see the steam coming off this. Just peel it off the edges. It smells wonderful. And we're going to leave this now to cool on this rack for about half an hour. It needs to be properly cool before you can actually decorate it. So that's what we'll do next. So back shortly. Okay, so my cake is fully cooled. I've actually put it together for you now, and I've put the two layers together. I've actually made a frosting for this. You don't have to, you can actually eat the cake as it is, just put the two layers together. It'll be delicious. I made a frosting on the top, which is actually one large tub of cream cheese, that's 340 grams, about 8 ounces so that's about 230 grams of icing sugar, and about 4 ounces of butter, normal salted butter, and some vanilla. Now I've got powder here, but you can put about a teaspoon of vanilla into it. So all you need to do is get a bowl, put your cream cheese into the bowl with get your mixer, whisk, softened butter, the 4 ounces of softened butter at room temperature so they combine well. Whisk those together, which is no problem. Then add in 2 batches your icing sugar, so about 4 ounces at a time, and then your vanilla. And they all combine beautifully. They might go a little bit soft as a mixture, so you can pop it back in the fridge before you actually use it to coat your carrot cake. If it's a little bit too thick, you can always add just a little tablespoon of milk, and that will just ease it a little bit. Then once you've coated it, I pop it back in the fridge for 10 minutes, just firms it up a little bit. So when I actually put these together, I put a thin layer of my frosting in the middle, and then coated, in this case, there we go, the whole cake. And that's a carrot cake done. If you want to see more of this, then just subscribe to the channel. It's free, just get reminders when I publish something, or you can also go to the website, which we're building a content out on, which is www.theflatcatchef, or one word, .com. Back soon.